What's happening here?
Just hanging out, enjoying myself. Yeah.
At the Omnos.
Yes. Have you heard of us?
No, not
Wow,
really.
fantastic.
That's why I stopped by.
Very good.
Yes.
So we are an online platform, and really we want to add function into functional medicine, right? So if you get sick, and I think most of us here have been on a health journey, you go to a functional medicine doctor, you do all these tests, and you need to work with the functional medicine doctor to work out what does this all mean. With Omnos, you basically start with a self-assessment. It's quite thorough. From there, it gives you a baseline on what you need to work on, and it also recommends which tests you should do. Most people always start off with the genes tests.
So you have tests?
Yes.
Yeah.
These lovely boxes are the tests.
Oh, cool.
So the key here is you do the self-assessment, you do the genes, and then you can also do hormones, which is Dutch test. You do microbiome. You can do elements, which is hair mineral analysis. You can do organic acids, and it takes all of this data and through our machine learning cross-correlates all the data to give you recommendations on what to do. For example, say if we do the genes test and we realise your methylation pathways aren't that great, so you can't detoxify that well. And then we do the elements test and we find out that you've got high levels of mercury. Well, what that tells us is you've obviously had a filling, or you've eaten too much salmon or whatever, and you've got mercury and you don't have the genetic makeup to detox correctly. So it will recommend you don't eat fish and you detox. Or it might show that you've got estrogen dominance as a woman or low testosterone as a man. That might link to genes, or it might link to, your organic acids tests. So basically the AI brings all of this data together and gives you a personalized recommendation on your dashboard.
Super holistic.
It's really cool.
Really.
It's super cool. And it basically, the aim is to get people from being sick to healthy, but then when you sort it out, then it's like optimal human optimization, and then it's longevity, right?
The more tests you do, the more holistic your
more tests, the more data available.
Exactly.
As a kind of baseline, you would do the self-assessment and you do the genetics. There's a lot you can get. And then once you've done the self-assessment, they would say, hey, from what you're saying about your current state, we think you should do the hormones. Or so it will recommend you what to do.
Yeah, okay.
Or you can do the full suite. And there it is. Yeah, it's a really cool bit of tech.
Can I ask you another question?
Yes.
What if life was a game? What would you think about life if it was a game? All of a sudden.
I love these questions. If life was a game, I would probably... You'd remove the emotion out of decisions.
Remove the emotion out of the decisions. Whoa, that's interesting.
Because whenever I'm in business, I try view it as a game in general, because then if you're viewing it as a game and it's fun and you're changing the lens of which you view the situation,
that's true.
you make a better decision. So everything's a game, and if you see it as a game, you'll think it's an enjoyable game.
Yeah, but isn't enjoyment an emotion?
That's true. So as we're talking, to change my answer, seeing things as a game will change your lens on the lens on how you view things.
Yeah.
So the emotions will be more positive.
Yeah.
Rather than be like, oh my god, you'd be like, oh, it's a game. Let's see what happens.
So basically, like, if your life was a game right now, you would build a more enjoyable game. You would build a more positive approach to things, a more positive lens towards basically everything.
Everything would be positive all the time, and as a result, you probably do more things. You probably, because again, do I get out of my comfort zone? There's fear, so I'll do it a little bit, but not too much. But if it's a game, you're like, yeah, let's go. You know?
Yeah, exactly. You have to jump in.
So I think that would be it. I think you'd probably push yourself a lot more.
How would you proceed in the game? What would be the key elements of like making it forward on your way?
Well, games you want to win. So it's about winning. But it's not necessarily about other people losing. It's about progression and always getting to the. It's like a game you get to the next level.
And how would you go into the next level right now?
I think it's pushing the boundaries, isn't it? It's going beyond what you feel comfortable in, what you might feel you're capable of, expanding your comfort zone. So, for example, there'll be people going on stage today that have never been on such a big stage.
Yeah.
And they'll be nervous. Oh God, I got to go on stage, and they'll do it, and they'll be like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Next level.
Then it's next level. So that's a win in the game. And they're like, I've won today. Amazing. And then it's like, okay, well, what next? I've done that.
Yeah, exactly.
I want a bigger audience, and I want to do more.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not about winning. Isn't about other people losing. It's about you continually progressing.
Yeah, exactly.
And keeping that momentum.
Yeah, for sure. One of my friends said that the more you do things that make you uncomfortable, the less you have things making you uncomfortable.
That's true. There's a fine line, right, between people love moments of relaxation and chill, like, oh, I've done the work, I chill, but you don't want to stay there too long.
Yeah, no.
You want to push and have those moments of, I deserve a week off, but then you're back in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
But that can be hard because being comfort can be great, but it can also be like a very, very miserable place.
Yeah, for sure.
But then people get scared and.
For sure.
Yeah.
Maybe I was thinking maybe like the week off is also like you don't go off the game, but the week off is included in your game.
Yeah, you need that.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is, sometimes, and I'm guilty of it, if you're not forced to get back in the game, sometimes you can just get lazy.
Yeah, that's
But it's the worst thing because you've got to force yourself to get.
Yeah.
It's like going to the gym, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to go.
No.
But you really do need to go.
Pushing the boundaries,
You
as
do.
you said. Yeah.
So it's having that discipline, right? It's
For
a fine line.
For sure.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Pleasure to talk to you guys.
What's your name though?
Adam Parker from Omnos.
Adam Parker.
Yes. That is
Here
me.
we
What
go.
are you guys doing?
So this is basically a 100% dark chocolate.
Mä oon ajautunut tällaiseen leposänkyyn vaikuttamaan mun mikroverenkiertoon. Tää on Bemerin tämmönen sähkösänky. En mä oikeesti tiedä, lähettääkö se sähköä ehkä.
Sähköhoitoa ei anneta tässä, eli ei laiteta sähköä kehoon, vaan tämä hoito välitetään pulssoivan magneettikentän avulla. Ja se on kuljetin. Se on se, mikä vie sen hoidon kehoon. Ja sitten sen magneettikentän signaalirakenne saa fysikaalisen reaktion aikaiseksi meidän verisuonten seinämissä. Eli tämä on kohdennettu terapia pienimmille verisuonille.
Me tässä alettiin äsken keskustelemaan, koska
Sitten jos täällä on riittävän voimakas verenvirtaus.
hän auttoi mua viime vuonna myöskin. Mä olin viime vuonna täällä Summitissa jalka murtuneena. Kipsin kanssa heiluin täällä läpi viikonlopun. Ja sitten jossain vaiheessa viikonloppua, kun mä pyörin sen kipsin kanssa, niin joku Bemerin pisteeltä oli sillä lailla, hei tuu tänne, mä tiedän, että sä tarvit tätä. He laittoi mun jalan ympärille tällaisen strapin. Tän näköisen. Mistä tulee ihan kohdistetusti sitä mikroverenkiertovaikutetta sinne jalkaan. Ja sitten mä aloin tuntemaan niin kuin sen kipsin läpi sellaista kihelmöintiä siinä mun murtuneessa jalassa ja siinä murtumakohdassa nimenomaan. Are you in a rush?
No.
No, not in a rush. Can we then ask you a couple of questions?
Sure.
Just out of the blue. What if life was a game?
Then we would keep playing.
If we were to think life as a game, how would that game be constructed in your perspective?
Well, I think if life were to be a game, then it would be like this continuous game, so to say, that there wouldn't be like an actual end to it, so that there would be a way of keep the game going, and because that's when if you finish the game, then the fun also stops, and that's why the kind of goal of any game should be to gonna keep playing.
Keep it going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well then, how, in your perspective, would we keep it going? In what methods or means would you proceed in that game continuously?
Yeah, that's a difficult question. Maybe in a way we are kind of doing it, but not as individuals, like as a species, as a human species, we are trying to, let's say, achieve, or like on an evolutionary scale, we're trying to just recreate and proliferate our genes, which is in a way of also trying to keep the game going. not us as individuals, but as a species and for our offspring, and we carry our genes into the future. So we are already doing it, I think. But with the advancement of technology, we just become better at it, and it's gonna be easier to do it.
What do you like most in the game? What's your favorite feature of the current game?
Well, I guess. For me, it's like just trying to, accomplish and achieve certain things to kind of become a master at something and develop myself as a person and just grow. That's kind of the most fun part about me, for me.
Like continuously leveling up.
Yeah.
And if we were to ask you to give us two one tip, just one single method to level up in our own game, what would that be at this moment?
Well, I think consistency is probably the most important thing, to do something consistently, because nothing is going to happen overnight, and if you quit halfway through, then you're not going to reach the things that you want to achieve.
Well, that was the best tip for us too, for sure. Thanks a lot. Siim Land.
Kiitos paljon. Mitä sä haluaisit? Täällä päivän kombutsa. Metsäsamppania maistelemassa. Metsän probioetteja työntämässä omaan suolistoon.
Oltiin menossa dippaamaan.
Joo,
Kuinka kävi?
Ei se nyt ihan vielä onnistunut. Valitettavasti sauna oli varattu ja mä en ehkä ihan kuitenkaan ole vielä siinä tasolla, että mä menisin tuohon jääkylmään veteen ja sitten jäisin oottelemaan tuohon ulos. Vai mitä oot mieltä?
6-asteinen vesi ilman ehkä 6 astetta.
Ei siinä ole paljon eroa.
Joo. Ei olla ihan siellä vielä, mutta en mä kauhean kauan jaksa istua.
Joo. Tässä on joku lämpösysteemi.
Ja tämmönen kattoikkuna myöskin.
Mä en tiedä, mistä tää lämpö? Tuleeko toi lämpö niinku tosta systeemistä?
Sauna is free.
Yes!
Woo! Thank you for the nice news. Thank you. Kiitos.
Hyvä.
Ei oo kylmä enää.
Baltic Sea.
8 astetta. Hyvin menee.
Jos siis kun mulle myytiin tää homma niin, että tää pitää olla vähintään 2 minuuttia, niin sit tää tuntuu pari tuntia hyvältä. Mä ajattelin olla täällä nyt koko loppupäivä. Tää on ehkä jännittävin osuus. Kohtahan se selvii. Sulla on noi saunavihdatkin mukana siinä.
Haapa. Se oli haapa.
Se oli haapa, joo. Ei ollut koivu.
Kerroin kaikille, että kaikki paska niiden sisältä lähtee niiden ylviön mukana.
Hyvä.
Kaikki pahat henget ja muu.
Hyvä.
Muu ylimääräinen.
Vielä hetki. Vielä 2 kierrosta. Mikä noi nyt oli? Mikä lyssy? Tästäkö sulle maksetaan? Tästäkö sulle maksetaan?
No ei makseta.
Onneksi.
How are you doing?
I'm amazing. I just went ice swimming, so I'm feeling alive.
You went ice swimming to
Yes.
the pool or to the sea?
In the Baltic Sea, which is much better.
In the Baltic Sea, of
Yes.
course. Hey, I have one quick question.
Yeah.
What if life was a game?
Well, what if life was a game? What a brilliant question. I think life actually is a game, or in a way, life is perfect. Every moment is perfect, every moment is fresh, so yeah, it's an interesting question. Now that I let it sink in, I would say, yeah, I like that. Life can be that serious and more playful if life is a game. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
So,
if we were to think life as a game now,
Yes.
because you kind of
Yes.
said you kind of think so, if we were to think that, how would you actually build that game? How would the game proceed? How would it be constructed? Like, what would be the elements in the game?
well, that's also a good question. I would say, on the level of experience right now, I would say, on some level, it already feels like the universe is experiencing itself, through itself, as one consciousness, and a fractal aspect of that consciousness. So, in that way, when we realize that and we laugh at that, the game is already constructed perfectly.
I love that. Oh my gosh, I love that. In your perspective, how would one level up in the game?
I think by realizing that it's a game, so by realizing our previous conditioning, which we add layers on top of layers as we age from our community, our country, our parents, the media, our teachers. And then I think there's a point where we notice, oh, okay, these layers don't serve me, where we realize the matrix and we strip away the layers. So I think the next level of the game is actually becoming more embodying your pure being and changing the conditioning consciously. And then embodying presence more, and yeah, where there's more spontaneous emergence, more playfulness, more joy, more aliveness, more well-being.
If I would ask you
Yes.
for the one last thing to describe life as a game with one phrase, or kind of like sum it up, what if life was a game?
Life is an ecstatic dance.
I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So this is basically a 100% dark drop.
Joo, siis musta on kiinnostavaa tavallaan se, että 99% kaikista sairauksista niin räkätään takaisin niinku stressiin.
Just näin, eli se on se juurisyy.
Niin, ja tavallaan niinku kaikkien sairauksien juurisyy on stressi, ja sitten jos me niinku korjataan se asia, niin meiltä lähtee kaikki.
Mutta just lääkeyhtiöt ei halua
halukkaan, ei. Ja sitten jos mietitään vaikka länsimaista lääketiedettä ja kiinalaista lääketiedettä, niin kiinalainen lääketiedehän perustuu niin kuin ennaltaehkäisemiseen. Ja sen idea on tavallaan se, että sun ei tarvitse tullakaan edes sinne niin, että tohtori on onnistunut hyvin, jos niin kuin potilas pysyy hengissä ja poissa. Mutta sitten meillähän se on tavallaan se, että me halutaan, että tulet uudestaan ja tässä on sulle nämä reseptit ja osta.
Joo.
Sen sijaan, että sun
vähän
niinku...
kestotilausta hyödyntää.
Niin. Niin.
Simo,
No,
kun sä olit kohdusta 30-vuotiaaksi asti kroonisesti stressaantunut, niin millä sä kräkkäsit sen? Mikä oli semmoinen game changer, millä sä kräkkäsit sen?
no aika pitkälti just periaatteessa TR:n harjoittaminen, koska sit kun mä aloin sitä tekee, niin pikkuhiljaa mä löysin sen, mä sain niinku hermoston haltuun, mut sit se ei pelkästään riitä, sit puhutaan ruokavaliosta, voimaharjoituksesta, ne on kaikki elementtejä, millä voi vahvistaa hermoston toimintaa, koska sit jos sen hermoston saa tavallaan niinku terveeksi, niin sit nämä ongelmat häviää kuin itsestään, koska sit sulla on terve toimiva hermosto.
So this is basically a 100% dark drop.
Can I bother you for a little bit? Okay, I will
No,
anyways.
no. Yes.
Okay.
What's up? What's
Cool.
up?
Could we play maybe a tiny little game right here? So okay, let's put it that way. Let's start the game with a open question, and everyone is free to say everything at any point.
Yes.
So what if life was a game?
Well, in some ways it already is.
Yeah.
In some ways it already is. It is. It's like people gamifying things has been a kind of a long-lasting phenomenon. You know, you can gamify healthcare systems, like that's been happening.
Schooling.
Yeah. I mean, you can gamify the data that you're getting from your Oura ring, and you know what I mean. You can reward people and set up like reward mechanisms like this. So in many ways, it is.
If we right here, like us three, were to gamify life as a whole, then how would we construct that? Like, what would we bring in it? How would we start making it?
I think, in my personal opinion, I think people should be rewarded for doing good and for helping others. And there's ways that there'd be like these different ways that people can sort of like lift each other up and support each other.
Yeah. So, and I agree.
Not only health, but just a number of stuff. Just about every aspect of life, whatever people need.
Yeah, I agree. I agree on that, and also like I like how you started building it from a communal perspective instead of an individual perspective, and that's what I myself agree as well. What do you think? Is it a communal game or rather an individual game?
I think it's a communal game.
Yeah. For sure, it happens on both levels, but like it's a matter of perspective where you start looking at it.
When you really think about it, you could look at this kind of situation that we're facing now, and there's like different thoughts where like there's a certain individual responsibility that people should absolutely take, but there's also individual responsibility that people are unwilling to take, consciously or subconsciously, or they don't know how to take that responsibility for themselves. And that's where I think that people need support and help in those things.
So basically, do I get it correctly? In your view, it would help the communal game if the people could carry a little bit more of the individual responsibilities that we are kind of like.
Yes, in my line of work and field that I work in, you can help. I like to help. That's what I'm trying to do. That's my mission. I like to help people, but you can only help those who take some steps themselves, right?
Yeah.
And they need to want to be helped too, and they need to understand that it's acceptable and okay to take help from other people.
Yeah, and it's also like, in my opinion, it's also like, it indeed is help, but you cannot make the steps for someone. You can help them if they are willing to take it.
There's the saying, you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Exactly. So if us three here were making the game better right now, if we had all the means in the world to make the game better, what would we actually start doing to make it closer to the point where people would feel rewarded of lifting others up, where people would feel willing to take the responsibility, where people would feel that it's in our all like benefit to help each other out and proceed in the game communally?
I think this fulfillment or these kind of emotional things are what people are drawn towards, you know? Like I think that, well, at least I believe I'm surrounded by people, mainly in my life, who look at currency, money, and that's not the most important thing. At least that's what people say. And I think that most people would kind of gladly discard currency if they knew that there wasn't an existing system that was basically propped up on this currency.
Yeah.
So I think it's more this emotional or things that drive you in life, your mission in life, all those deep, like these am I trying to make a word up here? Things that why you exist.
I personally resonate with the thought of like creating a world with less material orientation and more human connection and care.
Yes. I also, at the same time, I also believe there still is room for certain level or certain format of what we would consider in today's standards capitalism. You know what I mean? Like a good. You make goods and it's worth something, and you can trade that for for value or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. But okay. I also want to add something to the game because we are now building the game.
Yeah.
So I would add right now to the game a feature that makes us unable to box things, to make any boxes, to make any kind of definition for a box that some thoughts or some ideas or some people go into, to like remove all of those.
Yeah, people really want to see like lines and things and like a little bit rush maybe somewhere. I think like life isn't like line, so we need to. I also think adapt to be like a little bit like more like ball or like a round things. It's not like that or black or white.
Exactly. I'm not in this box and you are not in that box and you are not in that box, but we can all like look at each other and be like kind of around and all over the place like with each other. We don't have to be like this or like that or like I don't know. That's my improvement suggestion.
I agree with what you're saying. Let's take racism as a huge issue, right? And this is kind of in a way I'm detecting that this is included in these boxes and labels and things that we're trying to dismiss, right?
Totally.
It's a concept for me that's very foreign because I don't give a shit about but I don't care like. I don't know. They look from somewhere else, but to me, it's a biohacker. Like we're just at the same event, so it's for me. It's never been an issue or a sort of a concept of familiarity with me until I see other people saying there's racism, systemic racism, or something like this.
It's a box. It's one of the boxes we have like created in some way, and we are the creators of that. If we like believe in this.
Remember what I said about people in sauna. In the festival, Magnus, I like people.
Yeah, exactly.
In sauna without too much clothes because then I see the just people.
Exactly. And that's so great. We would probably add more Finnish sauna culture into the game as well for everyone as well.
In the least creepiest way possible, by the way.
That's true. That's true. So in our game, I would also add like. For making it improve in a communal way, I would also add the individual responsibility, as you said earlier, but also an excitement for life, an excitement and belief in our own capability to make an effect. Because I think that's what the game at this moment is lacking really a lot. People are saying, no, it's like we're destructing the environment, but I can't do anything about that. Yeah, we as a country cannot do anything about that. Yeah, I cannot do anything about that either.
But I can't do anything about that.
Yeah, and I'm like, if you cannot, then I cannot, then no one can. Like, who can? Like, what is this game? I don't go with this.
So you're talking to somebody who believes that I can. I'm not a power hungry person, or by any stretch, but I always believe I'm the sort of person who I don't do very well if I sense that my own personal freedoms and things like that, or my ability to influence something is removed, or threatened. I sense it very like that's something that rattles my cage a little bit very quickly because I can sense it's coming.
I really agree with what you're saying. I also feel extremely like lacking all of my power if my freedom is somehow like threatened and my like.
Quite sensitive to see other people that disregard or disrespect that.
Yeah. Oh man.
If you consider a country like Finland, it's only 103 years ago.
Yeah.
2, 3, whatever we're up to, where Finland actually fought and won its independence. And what do you think those brave Finnish people actually fought for?
Yeah.
What was the fight for? Freedom. Freedom.
Yeah.
And now someone says there may or may not be a virus or something, and you give all that earned in blood freedom away.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense to me.
No, it doesn't. I think yeah, well, this is another topic, but I think
I know we get deep pretty quickly.
yeah, but that's the thing. Okay, so let's close it up. What would be if we would build together a mean or a method for people to level the game up with us? What would we do? What would be the thing we start with in our constructed game, which is a communal game that proceeds by lifting each other up? What would be our one method or mean to bring other people to level it up with us?
I would say like a better communication. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I agree. Better communication.
I would. My answer was kind of the same, but actually listening. Because everyone can so-called communicate by talking and throwing things around, but no one's listening to any side. And then then the problem is that we actually start to, because we get worried and things feel that we're not in control or we have no influence or whatever, and we see things moving further and further away, we start to gravitate more towards things that help consolidate our sort of like belief mechanisms, which is why we have like a right side of politics and a left side of politics. Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter, even though All Lives Matter is like All Lives Matter.
Yeah.
So just listening, and you're not finding the situation so frequently where you've got like a real discussion on real topics without one side getting extremely over the top emotional, and that's the issue. Yeah, there needs to be some sort of like common ground found between logic, facts, statistics, where emotional, empathy, compassion, all these kind of like human-centric feelings and emotions are found. There needs to be even parts of both and all.
I love that, because this is our game altogether. I will add one more thing. So more communication, especially listening. I would add open communication and especially listening openly.
Yep.
This is our game. I'm Eva, this is Leigh, Evan, and this dude is Jonas, Levon. Thank you guys. Thanks for the game.
No worries. In these discussions as well, it's also like you gotta, in order to, I think you have to earn your opinion to be heard. By listening to someone else's opinion.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and I think the answer is inside.
Yeah.
And when you listen in your breathing and close your eyes and pay attention with your body, then you have to all the answers. You don't have to ask anyone. And also, we are not here teaching to anyone, because everyone knows their truth themselves. But I can show the way that when you look inside, there is an answer.
Yeah.
So this is basically a 100% dark chocolate.
Meillä on tässä öljypuhdistuskakkuja. Meillä on tässä meidän vaan torstaina julkaistut uudet metsäkakut, missä on siis Tampereen ja Helsingin yliopistojen tutkijoiden kanssa yhdessä tutkittua metsämikrobia, mikä vahvistaa kehon luontaista vastustuskykyä sekä kehon immuniteettia. Ja tämän avulla tosiaan pystytään uudelleen ohjelmoimaan sitä kehon immuniteettia niin, että vältetään esimerkiksi tulevaisuuden allergioita ja sairauksia, kuten ykköstyypin diabetesta tai astmaa. Ja näillä kakuilla me tuodaan se metsäaltistuminen ja ne metsän hyödyt jokapäiväiseen elämään niin, että me ei tarvitse välttämättä mennä sinne metsään. Ja nyt ollaan viime viikolla uutisoitu paljon siitä, että miten esimerkiksi päiväkotien pihoille pitäisi tuoda sitä metsäpohjaa, että ne lapset pysyisivät terveinä, niin siihen samaan tutkimukseen tämä meidän kakkujen juttu perustuu.
So this is basically a 100% dark chocolate.
Hello, I'm here with Alex Azzi, a community builder of the Biohacker movement.
Hello.
Alex, I wanted to ask you something.
Yes.
Really out of the blue.
Okay.
What if life was a game?
It is a game.
What kind of game is it for you then?
It's the most fun game, the most meaningful game, and the most important game.
What creates the meaning?
You create the meaning by really, first of all, trying to understand the rules of the game, and then how to play them the best and have the most fun and win. Find people to play with, and yeah, that would be a quick answer.
And how do we, in your perspective, how do we proceed in your game?
In my game, it's basically a matter of like making the biggest impact that you can by helping people and making a dent in the universe, to use the words of Steve Jobs, to make the biggest change, make the biggest impact that you can.
And what is the change that you would make at this moment?
Mine is to make the world's most awesome people more awesome. Okay? The vehicle for that is biohacking, a bit of VR as well. He's doing my VR meditation experience. So that's an example. And yeah, just really like I found my calling, I found my mission through this.
Would there be something that you would remove from the game, from the general game of life?
Yeah, the usual stuff, negativity, those sort of like parts of human nature that aren't really so ideal. I'd try to remove those. They're quite annoying. Scarcity mindset, fear, these kinds of things. That's what I'd remove.
What kind of characters do you enjoy most in the game?
In the game. Well, that's an interesting one. There's two sides to the story. There's the people who are like you, and there's the people who are different than you. And you have to always be reaching out and like experiencing different people. You should seek the differences, not only the people who are like you and have the same ideas, which is one thing very common in this community, is like we're all getting our research, our knowledge from the leaders who are doing the research or driving the movement. But you should always have an open mind and reach out to other more uncomfortable kinds of players, people.
If we were to ask you to give us one tip, just one tip, to level up our own game, what would that one thing be?
One tip? Learn about mental models. Learn about mental models. These are the apps for your brain, for your mind. They allow you to understand better reality, how you work, how things work, and spend a bit of time studying those, and then do things, do anything, create, just like what you're doing now. I'm not really sure what it is. But just like learn the principles of reality, mental models, it's a tip, and then apply, execute, do anything.
Action.
Yeah, take action, exactly. Play.
We are playing for sure. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Where we now sell this.
Next up.
Educate salespeople.
Joo. En mä kyllä tiedä mihin mä tätä makua vertaisin.
The shot you should take before and after drinking.
Before and after drinking.
Yeah.
That's a good advice.
So what this stuff is?
This is really a long story.
Yeah.
Basically for the gut health. So we have microorganisms in our gut, but the balance is out because of our food and the environment we live in right now. We used to get fulvic and humic acids from the soil that bacteria is creating all the time.
but all the pesticides have killed the bacteria, so we can't get it from the food anymore. And now we are doing it out of wood, lignin. That's the thing the bacteria consumes to make the fulvic and humic acid, and it comes to our body and just makes the environment so good that the good bacteria will be again back on the normal level. Because when you take the antibiotics, you just kill everybody, but this doesn't kill nobody. No, because we need also the bad bacteria. Let's say the bad. You always need a little bit of resistance.
Yeah.
It just makes the right environment.
Okay, is it like probiotic?
No,
No.
You don't add anything, because if you add prebiotics to your gut, but the environment is bad, they die.
And why before and after drinking?
Because it's really a strong antioxidant also, and it fixes the free radicals. When you drink, you get toxins. It takes out the toxins from your body and brings the nutrients in the cell, because it's like microorganisms are making it. They're small by themselves, but this fulvic and humic acid is even smaller. It's so small, in fact, that it goes through your cell wall. That's why it's like a wheelbarrow for your body. Your body handles it by itself. You don't add anything, just give the tools to work. Because everything people have ruined, only natural things can heal.
Yeah.
Only nature can heal.
So we also have black stuff cookies right here. It's the most healthy cookie I heard. I asked if it's good, but we'll see.
And actually it's for horses, but we are animals too. So that's the thing, I didn't say it before you ate it.
I actually knew it.
Okay.
I heard it yesterday, but I thought, why not?
Because horses have lots more problems with their digestion. So so you don't need to use the antibiotics anymore. You use the black stuff.
Quite nice, actually. Take a bite.
Nyt on juotu paljon mustaa kamaa. Miltä tuntuu just nyt?
Tosi hyvältä. Hyvä fiilis. Se on aika fresh.
Tavallaan sillain, että ei tunnu siltä, että mä vetäisin kauheasti mitään itteeni sisään.
Ei,
on enemmänkin
ei.
niin kuin jotenkin sitä, mitä on. Niin sit
Joo,
se vaan
niinpä. On ollut tosi ilo huomata täällä Summitissa, että miten luonnonläheinen asetelma tällä hetkellä on. Tosi sellaista matalan kynnyksen luonnollista lähestymistapaa terveyteen.
Joo, ja sitten just tavallaan se, mitä olen itse paljon miettinyt siitä, että tarvitaanko nyt sitä, tätä ja tota ja tätä vielä. Niin sitten jotenkin se, että kun mennään metsään, ollaan siellä 20 minuuttia, niin me saadaan siitä niin kuin ihan ääretön määrä hyötyjä.
Joo, tosi monet on puhunut siitä metsässä oleskelusta täällä nyt. Ja sitten se on hauskaa, että jengi alkaa heräillä siihen, että on varmaan ihan hyvä homma olla ulkona.
Joo, kyllä mä luulen. Ja hengitystä. Ollaan tehty hengitysharjoituksia tuolla noin. Periaatteessa niin kuin kaikki löytyy jo sun sisältä, että sä voit hengitellä ja sitten sä voit mennä metsään, niin eiköhän se ole vähän niin kuin siinä.
Joo, hyvä meininki.
Cool.
Fiilistelyjä. Mikä fiilis Summitista?
Hyvä fiilis. Pelkästään hyvä viikonloppu takana. Paljon hyviä puhujia, tosi mielenkiintoisia aiheita, hyvää uutta terveysteknologiaa. Kaikki noita mitä mikroverenkierto, sänkyjä ja tollasia.
Joo.
Paljon niinku, täällä oli vaan tosi semmonen pläjäys niinku, että
Oppia.
Fantastic. Feliz.
and she's been sitting us all as coincidence on Baltic since our earliest years.
No! Vähän maistuu porkille.
Kuuluuko?
Toivotaan.
Toivotaan. Yes, I'm here with Mr. Teemu Arina. Teemu, I have one quick question for you, or actually three, but I will start with the first one.
Let's go.
What if life was a game?
If life was a game, how do you know it's not already a game?
How do we know?
Like-
What kind of thoughts arise when I ask you this question?
Well, one of the ideas that immediately comes to my mind is that is this a simulation? Are we in some kind of advanced computer simulation that was created by a much more advanced civilization, thousands and thousands of years older than us, maybe millions, that has created this experience? Because we are giving birth to a similar experience with our computers. And in the end, like, life happens on so many levels as a game, because if you think of social relationships and interactions, game theory is one thing that was developed to describe how people make decisions, and prisoner's dilemma is another one. So, and one of the things is, if this was created by a much more advanced intelligence, according to game theory, the first rule would be to hide. You would hide yourself. So you wouldn't be able, as a human, you wouldn't be able to see who created this. So if they can escape our attention.
Nice. So if we were to now look at life as a game, in your perspective, what would be the constructive blocks of this game? How would we proceed in the game, in your perspective?
Reward mechanisms would then boil down to your nervous system and neurotransmitters like dopamine, which is kind of like a guiding signal which tells you what you should do. And then there's fear of death that keeps you away and out of trouble. And out of that interaction of life and death basically comes everything. And I would say those are the specifics. Like, do you want me to go even more in detail?
As you wish, mister. All in your hands. The game is yours.
Oh, the game is mine. Yeah, that's the good question, is because you can actually decide that you are not playing the game according to the same rules. Who creates the rules?
Exactly.
If you think of culture, there's a lot of unwritten rules. And a lot of like undescribed things, but we just do those things because we learned that from someone else, or we observed that happening.
Yeah, exactly.
But it doesn't mean that things need to happen in that way. So you have the opportunity to always do something else than everyone else. If everyone else is queuing, you can decide not to queue in the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
If you create your own rules, the game changes.
Yeah, exactly. If everyone else is waiting for the lights to turn and there's no cars coming, you can still be the one to walk if there's nothing you can perceive.
Exactly.
Teemu, what kind of role then would events such as the beautiful Biohacker Summit have in this game?
Well, it's a attractor of strange people. It's an attractor for change and learning. I think out of this kind of, you can think of it as a vortex of some kind of center of gravity where certain things gravitate towards too. Over the years I've noticed that specific type of people gravitate towards this. It's very hard to push someone who is not naturally gravitated towards something like this. And they will find their way here. And out of those interactions it's always fruitful to observe what emerges.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe new rules, I don't know, new technologies, you know.
New rules always
ideas.
welcome, new ideas as well. Thanks a lot, Teemu. It's been a great experience once again, the Biohacker Summit. And if life was a game, let's see how it goes then.
Eve